Hello to each and every one of you this evening. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Jarvis A. Cook, and I am a candidate for Olive Branch Alderman Ward 3, and I appreciate this opportunity to share with you. Listen, if you would be so kind and share this segment with your family and your friends, most of all those that live in the city of Olive Branch or wherever, this is information that will be important that I will be sharing tonight. And I want to make sure that everyone is informed, empowered, and encouraged to vote. And so, will you please be so kind and share this with someone on tonight, or even tag their name in the comments? I welcome all of your questions, whatever questions you may have. I want to welcome you tonight to Conversations with the Cook. Again, my name is Jarvis A. Cook, and I am a candidate for Olive Branch Alderman Ward 3 position. And I look forward to this opportunity to talk with you all on tonight. You should be able tonight to drop your questions in the comments section, and I should be able to see those tonight so that I can address and answer any of your questions that you may have for me tonight. On last week, I talked about the different types of elections, and it is important to know what the different types of elections. The election that is coming up in June 8th is a general election. It's also a municipal election. There are a difference in the elections and what you vote for when you're voting for president and when you're voting for mayor. They are two different types of elections. So federal election is one election that a lot of people are common with, and that's when you go and you vote for senator, you go and vote for president, and so forth, and U.S. House of Representatives. Those types of elections types of positions are considered federal elections. But the election that a lot of people tend to forget about that is very, very, very important, and that is the municipal election. I encourage every viewer that is watching on tonight, I encourage every viewer to uh, get out and vote in your municipal election. Your municipal election is your local election in the city or town in which you live. So it's very important that you participate in that, because these are the elected officials that make decisions on your behalf for your city. And so it's important that you participate in municipal elections. A lot of people tend to not participate in them for various reasons, but we want to change that starting this year, that you vote in every election. Every election is important. Every election is important. Hello, Amanda. Thank you. Every election is important, and it is important that you get out and you vote. So our municipal election, in which, hello, Ella Cooley, our municipal election that we will be voting in will take place on June 8th. And this is the election in which I will be participating as a candidate. As most of you all know, I am running as alderman for Ward 3. And a few neighborhoods that are in Ward 3, we have Bethel Park, we have College Crossing, we have Cedar Crest, Cedar Creek, we have Chateau Ridge, we have the Sanborn, that air Bird Song. I'm sorry, Sanborn is the street, but Bird Song subdivision. If you live in that area, you are in my ward as well as Lee's Crossing, Lexington Crossing. If you live in any of those areas and in that vicinity, then you are in Ward 3. We talked about on last week how to find out which ward you are in, because it is important. I run into so many people and they don't know which ward that they live in. And I explained to you all what a ward is. It's basically just the local authority area. It's used for electoral purposes, just the area in which you live, and it's grouped together and broken up into wards. So the particular ward that I reside in is Ward 3. So it's important. If you do not know, if you live in the city of Olive Branch and you do not know which ward you live in, I'll be more than happy to help you, but there are other resources to assist you. You can check this website. You can go to obms.us and you can look at a ward map. There's a map on the city's website page, and it will let you know which ward you live in. Because if you show up on June 8th to the wrong polling precinct, then you won't be able to vote. So I want to make sure that we all are informed and we all are educated on the ward that we live in, the ward that we should be voting in. So you can check the city's website for that information. You can also contact our municipal clerk. Her name is Tina Griffin. You can contact her at 662-892-9211 at the City Hall, and she can assist you. Not only can you contact her, you can also contact the DeSoto County Clerk's Circuit Clerk's Office at 662-469-8007. And they could also share that information with you. I myself had to verify a few things as it relates to the ward and the area that we live in, because it can be confusing. But there's no reason, with all of the resources that we have available and people informing us, that we don't know this information. This is the purpose of me being on here tonight, to keep you informed so that you can't say that you didn't know. But I want to make sure that we educate as many people as possible. You need to know what ward you live in. You need to know that information. If you live, for example, in Ward 3, normally in a federal election, we vote at the Seventh-day Adventist Church here, located on College Road in Olive Branch. That's where we vote for federal election. But you will not vote there in the municipal election. So that's why it's so important that you know which ward you live in, so you'll know that you're going to the right polling precinct to vote. Because for the municipal elections, where you normally vote for a federal election, that may not be the same case for the municipal election. So I want to make sure that we are educated and that we are informed. If you live in Ward 3, we will not be voting at the Seventh-day Adventist Church located here in Olive Branch on College Road. Instead, we will be voting at the Nichols Community Center, also known as the Old Fairhaven Fire Station, located at 10947 Highway 178. It's right across the street from Hurst Chapel CME Church. Hurst Chapel sits at the corner of Bethel Road and Highway 178. So it's important that you show up at the right polling precinct. So those are a couple of things that we discussed on last week. Thank you, my cousin. Appreciate your love and support. Those are just a couple of things. So it's important that you know which ward and the election that you're voting in. On June 8th, DeSoto County, the entire county, if you live in DeSoto County, you will have the opportunity to participate in your city's municipal election. June 8th is the date. June 8th is the date. So go ahead, mark your calendars, be prepared to take time to go and vote. Polls will open at 7 a.m. and they will close at 7 p.m. So go ahead and get that date in your head. June 8th should be just as important as your birthday, because you get to vote on June 8th. All of you that voted in November, and maybe some of you that didn't, you need to make sure that you go and you vote on June 8th. I also explained last week, I shared some information on what is needed to vote in Mississippi. That's a question a lot of people have, because some people think because they don't have a driver's license that they can't vote. That is absolutely false. You do not need a driver's license to vote. You do not need a driver's license to vote. I'm going to say it one more time for the people in the back. You do not need a driver's license to vote. You don't have to have a driver's license to vote, okay? Make sure that your family and your friends are aware that they don't need a driver's license to vote. Here's what you do need. There are many acceptable forms of ID. Okay, you can use a driver's license. Okay, let me back up. You must show a photo ID card. It must be something with your photo on it. Okay, here's what you can have. Okay, a driver's license, a photo ID card issued by the branch, department, or entity of the state of Mississippi. Okay, if it is just an identification card, a United States passport, a government employee ID card, a firearms license, a student photo ID from an accredited Mississippi University, college, or community junior college. It doesn't matter. You can use your student ID card to vote. A United States military ID, a tribal photo ID, any photo ID issued by any branch, department, agency, or entity of the United States government or any state government, a Mississippi voter identification cards. Those are available also. Please make sure that your family and your friends know that any of those forms of ID they can have to vote. Many people get deceived when they go to the polls and they don't have a driver's license. Okay? Some may say, well, I don't have my driver's license for whatever reason. But there are other forms of identification that you can take with you to vote. If you don't have your driver's license, you can request a provisional ballot. However, we don't want any issues at the polls. We want to prevent any issues whatsoever. So go ahead, get your identification. You need something with a photo ID, something to show a photo ID. It does not have to be a driver's license. It can be from that list of things that I mentioned. Okay, so I want to make sure that everyone is informed about that. As far as voters registration, we touched on that on last week. Okay, a resident of Mississippi and the county, city, or town for 30 days. If you've been in this city, if you've been in the state of Mississippi for 30 days, you can register to vote. Now, if you have lived in Olive Branch, for example, and you may have lived in Magnolia Estates, and you relocated to Lexington Crossing, you just moved to another part of the city, you will need to update your voters registration information. There is a form. I have it in my car. I didn't bring it up here with me, but you can fill out that form and submit it either to the municipal clerk or you can submit it directly to the DeSoto County Circuit Clerk's office to update your voters registration information. Okay? Because a lot of people move and they're not registered. Now, it's okay if you move, if you lived in Ward 3 and you just moved to another area of Ward 3, you can still vote in Ward 3 even though you moved. You need to just get your information updated, but you're still on the registry. But it's important that our information is updated because if you moved out of Ward 3 and you show up to Ward 3 to vote and your name is not on the list, then that just creates other issues that we're trying to avoid. So make sure that you check your voters registration. The DeSoto County Circuit Clerks has a tool on their website where you can type in your name and it'll pull up your voters registration information and show you the address in which you're registered. Okay, so I want to make sure that everyone is registered in the area in which they live. Okay, parents, if your child is going to be 18 before June 8th, they can register to vote and they will be able to participate in the June 8th election. Okay, so you can go ahead and start getting their voter, help them get their voter registration information completed. If your child will be 18 years of age before June 8th, they will be able to participate in the June 8th municipal election. Okay, anyone 18 years of age or older can register to vote. College students, you need to be registered to vote. You have a voice and you need to use it. Okay. All right. So I dealt with a lot of that on last week about voters registration. I'll talk a little more about it tonight, but I just wanted to pick up. I also talked about last week, what does an alderman do? I get there so many times. Like, what is an alderman? An alderman represents basically his or her specific ward in which they live. They are your voice. They are your voice. Thank you so much, Mr. King. They are your voice. An alderman is your voice. So it is important that you elect somebody that's going to speak on your behalf. Aldermen are not elected to side with their constituents, but they are elected to be your voice, to be your representation. So you need to elect somebody that's going to go to City Hall and talk for you, that's going to speak for you, that's going to answer when you call, that's going to listen to your concerns and do something about it. Those are the type of officials that you need to elect because they are your voice. It's impossible for all 4,000 of registered voters in Ward 3 to go to City Hall and talk at one time. That's why you select an alderman, somebody that's going to be fair, somebody that's going to speak on your behalf, that's going to do what's right, that's going to listen to your concerns and get actions behind it. So it's important that you do that. Now, in alderman elections, there's an alderman that will be elected to be alderman at large, and then they represent the entire city. Okay, not just a specific ward, but the entire city. However, the position which I'm seeking is just for Ward 3. Aldermen are elected for 4-year terms. They don't have limited terms. They can serve as many terms they want. They're much like a congressman. Aldermen represent the people who elect them. Are they supposed to represent the people that elect them? And they should aim to do what's in the residents' best interest. That's your job. If your alderman is not doing what's in the best interest of the residents in which it resides, then when you go to the polls on June 8th, your selection should be different. Okay? We need to keep that in mind when we go to the polls. Stop voting people back in that's not producing results. Okay? You need to elect officials that produce results. Ward 3, hello? Jarvis A. Cook is here, ready to work on your behalf and produce results. Now, I want to talk a little bit tonight. I only have about 10 minutes left about voting. So many times I hear this, and we got to destroy this. So many times I hear, well, I don't vote because they're just going to put whoever they want to put in office. That is absolutely ridiculous, and I have never heard something so ridiculous in my life. It is your duty and your obligation as a citizen of the United States of America to vote in every election. You're doing yourself a disservice and a disjustice by not participating in elections. Shame on you. Shame on you to have the mentality that I'm not going to vote because they're going to put whoever they want to put in. It's so much, there's really no validity in that statement. But on the other side, when you don't vote, yes, you allow that opportunity for whoever to get in. But when you do vote, you have exercised your right to vote. You can at least say, hey, I tried. Even if your candidate don't win, at least you know, and you can lay down and sleep at night knowing that you tried. And guess what? You don't stop. There are several candidates that are in office today. They didn't win the first time they went after it, but they kept trying. And the people kept voting. And eventually, hello, they prevailed. We see so many examples recently how elections have been turned in favor of certain candidates. We see what happened in Georgia. We see, and we also know that there's no evidence whatsoever that any of those elections was rigged. None of those elections were faulted. Those were secure elections. So we denounce and rebuke any of those statements. The point is, you have a duty to vote. The Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965. And basically what the Voting Rights Act did was to um, enforce the 15th Amendment. The 15th Amendment was created to give African American men the right to vote. So the Voting Rights Act came behind that to enforce that and make sure that everybody have the opportunity to vote. Whether you black, white, red, yellow, pink, purple, a man, woman, whatever, you have the opportunity to vote. The Voting Rights Act was passed to protect you. That's what it was passed for. So it was signed into law. Well, to back up, it was signed to, as I said, to enforce the 15th Amendment to the Constitution, which was signed into law 95 years after the amendment was ratified. In those years, African Americans in the South, they faced tremendous obstacles in voting, including poll taxes. There was literacy tests. There were all kind of bureaucratic restrictions to deny them the opportunity to vote. People was harassed at the polls. They were intimidated. There were also all kind of physical violence that happened to keep people from voting. They wanted to keep African Americans from registering to vote. As a result, there were very few African Americans that were registered voters, and they had very little, if any, political power, either locally or nationally, because they were suppressed. There was voter suppression. And I want to let everyone know out there that voter suppression still exists. It just comes in different forms nowadays. And you just have to be able to recognize that. We'll deal with that later and more. But the Voting Rights Act was passed to protect all of that. In 1964, there was numerous amounts of demonstrations that were held, and a lot of them turned violent because they were attacked, all because they wanted the right to vote. We just recently lost Congressman. We just recently lost John Lewis recently, and you all know that he led the march at Selma. And we all know well, most of you, some of you don't know. I kind of quit saying we all know because some of you don't know. That's why I'm doing this, to inform you. It was an event called Bloody Sunday that took place on the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And the reason why it was called Bloody Sunday, because they were attacked by state troopers, all of that right in Selma. They were attacked, they were beat, people was beat nearly to death. And that's where so much blood was scattered on the bridge. That's where it got its name, Bloody Sunday. So much happened. They was just peaceful marches, and they were attacked by state troopers. Right here in the wonderful state. There was murder of voting activists in Mississippi. Right here in the state of Mississippi, there were activists that was murdered. We know of Medgar Evers he was murdered right in his driveway. He was an activist that was advocating for black people to have the opportunity to vote, for everyone to have the opportunity to vote. And then we know what took place in August of not August, but we know what took place in 1964 in Selma on Bloody Sunday. These people risked their lives. They went through all that for all of us, everybody, to have the opportunity to vote. And you won't get up and do it. It's a shame and it's a disgrace to those that came before us, that risked their lives, that gave their lives to the struggle, and you won't get up and vote. It's sad. Every person that's listening and watching, you should encourage your family members, encourage your household to vote, to get up and vote. You got to use your voice. You got to use your power. So because of the events that took place on Bloody Sunday and the fact that it was aired live on national television so that people could actually see what was going on in the South and how people were being beat, how they were being murdered, how they were being lynched, how all these things were taking place, The President Lyndon Baines Johnson, knew that something had to be done. So he went to Congress and he appealed to Congress that we got to pass legislation that gives everybody the opportunity to vote, give everyone the right to vote. And he ended his address with, and we shall overcome. So on August 5th, 1965, Congress passed the Voting Rights Act. They did that. And that gave everyone the opportunity to use their power to vote. It's so important. It's so important that we're voting. It's so important that we're using our voice. We sit and we complain and we say, this is not happening, that's not happening. All of this stuff, we sit here and we complain, but we don't get up and do something about it. June 8th, you have an obligation. June 8th, in the city of Olive Branch, we will be electing a new mayor. And we have the opportunity to elect a new board of aldermen. You have the opportunity to do something about it. Get up and use your voice. Get rid of that mentality that I'm not voting because they're going to put whoever they want to put in there, or they don't do nothing for me. Find you a politician or an elected official that will. There are plenty of us that say, hey, we on the sidelines. We want to do something for you. We want to have the opportunity to work for you, to speak for you. We want to unify. I want to unify Ward 3. I want to bring us together. I want us to live peaceably. There's so many ideas and wonderful things that I have for Ward 3. So I want to have the opportunity to do that for you. Okay? So I wanted to share that with you. Let's never forget the things that others have done for us. They paved the way. Let's don't forget those who died in the struggle so that we can have the opportunities that should have been afforded to us anyways. Every person on this planet should have equal opportunity. No matter what's the color of your skin, no matter if you came from a rich home or a low-income home, we all should receive the same opportunity. So that's important that you elect officials that care about you. Okay? Elect somebody that cares about you as a person, as an individual. If you hadn't seen your local politician since the last election, guess what? They don't deserve your vote. You need elected officials that will come and visit your neighborhood, make themselves known, walk the community, and build a relationship with you. That's their job. So if you hadn't seen them since the last election, I don't think they deserve your vote. And also, if they have been given the opportunity years to produce results and you can't pull their track record and you can't see what they have done, or they can't tell you what they have done, they don't need your vote. So on June 8th, I'm appealing to every voter, especially in Ward 3, that you need to vote Jarvis A. Cook in for your alderman of Ward 3. I'm coming in to work on behalf of you. I'm coming in to unify. We got to unify this city. I don't care what political party you belong to. I don't care any of that. That does not matter. We have to learn how, in this world, we have to learn how to coexist together. We got to stop the division. We got to stop that. We got to get rid of that. because you are a Democrat, I'm not going to talk to you. Because you're a Republican, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to work with you. We got to squash out. We got to get rid of that, man. We got to get rid of that. And so it's important that we let candidates that do that. I'm out of time tonight, but listen, for those of you that desire, I've been out running today, working today, talking to neighbors, talking to friends out in the community, and we are all excited about June 8th. If you desire to have one of my campaign signs, let me know. Those of you that already reached out to me, I'll make my way to you. I have these beautiful signs. I don't know how well, but if you want one of these signs, I will. Thank you, Miss Lurleen. Thank you so much. If you want one of these signs, I will be more than happy to deliver that to you, or however that I can assist you, however I can avail myself to you. My number has been flashing across the screen. I'm all open for conversation. There's been people that invited me to their homes to talk, and I'm making my way there to talk to them. I'll be more than happy. That's what it's about, being a servant. And so I'm giving my life to be servanthood, to serve you. And I'm looking forward to having the opportunity to be your voice. So if you need me, you can call me, you can email me. We're on social media. We're on Facebook. As most of you have found the campaign page, we're also on Instagram, and we're also on Twitter. And you can follow us. But most of all, check out my website is jcookforalderman.com, jcookforalderman.com. You can find all of the information available. Ms. Lurleen, you all are still in the county. Now, there's an annexation that's taking place, and we're going to grab you all, and more than likely you will be in my ward because you're just right across the street. But right now, that side of College Road is considered the county still, and you won't be able to vote in this upcoming municipal election. But however, you can tell your friends across the street to vote for Jarvis A. Cook. I would greatly appreciate it. And I can give you a campaign sign too, because there's a lot of traffic on College Road. So unfortunately, after this, well, right now you won't be able to participate, but after this annexation, we're grabbing you all. You all will be a part. So that's all that I have. Please, 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 I solicit your support. If you wish to donate to my campaign, hey, we need your money. You can donate by Cash App, whatever amount, all amounts will help. You can do that at jcook, the number 4, for Alderman. And you can do that. We have PayPal. If you visit the website, jcookforalderman.com, you can pay a donation on there. And we have Zelle. We have so many functions in which you can donate to the campaign. So every red cent that you donate to this campaign will be used solely for this campaign. So we need your support, and we welcome your support. So please, if you feel led to donate, please donate. Whatever you do, we appreciate it. It's very expensive running a campaign, a successful campaign. So we appreciate your support. And lastly, join me next Monday night. I'll be back. I want you to stay connected with me. Again, you can put that back up. Stay connected. You can follow me on Instagram, Cook for Alderman. You can follow me on Facebook. If you put it in the search bar at JA Cook for Alderman, you will find my campaign page. You can follow me on Twitter at Cook for Alderman. And most of all, you can email me, jcookforalderman@gmail.com. And again, my website is there, jcookforalderman.com. And you'll find out all information you want to learn about Jarvis A. Cook. It's there. And my number again is 662-420-8537. We can have conversation. I'm a busy man, so if I don't answer the first time, leave me a message and I'll be sure to get back with you. Thank you all for watching. Share this with someone so that we can all be informed, educated, and empowered. There's no reason with all the resources that we live in the not knowing, but we have tools available for us to educate ourselves. So that's my purpose of doing this, to educate all of my viewers and supporters out there, and most of all, solicit your prayers and support. So again, until next time, thank you for watching Conversations with the Cook. If you have any questions, anything you want me to deal and address, please email me, jarvisacook@gmail.com, or you can inbox me on any of those social media tools that I have. with your question, and I'll be sure to address it. So until next time, I'll love to see you all next Monday night for Conversations with the Cook. Remember, vote on June 8th. God bless you all.